Hi everyone, this is Long Vo. Today I'm analyzing one of my games played on September the 16th, 2012 against my brother Bao. So he's playing white and I'm playing black. He starts off with e4 and I use the French defense with e6 and he goes d4. I reply with d5, challenging the center, and he plays the advanced variation with e5. So I quickly challenge the center with c5, and he defends with c3. And now I develop the knight to c6, putting more pressure on the d4 pawn. Now he goes f4, putting more pressure, supporting his center. I feel that it's becoming overextended here, so I'm planning to perhaps undermine the pawns somewhere here in the back and then attack the front pawn later. So I went f6. So usually something like this, perhaps you have the option to play the queen here to add more pressure on the d4 pawn. And he can't really defend with the bishop or else this pawn hangs. And because the c3 pawn already took the square of the knight here, I think his position is a little bit awkward. I didn't play that move, however. So I went with f6, challenging the lead pawn. Because the e pawn is so advanced here, I feel that my knight cannot really develop. So the idea here is to try to get him to exchange and develop my knight. And if he doesn't want to, then I'll take and then I'll develop my knight in a different location. So he defends with f3, and so f takes e, f takes e. Now knight to e7. So even though the dark squared bishop and the light squared bishop are quite passive at the moment, the point here, the goal is to remaneuver my knight to f5 to put pressure on the d pawn. So I'm adding another attacker later on, and plus with the pawn and the knight, and I could always bring the queen in later. So that's the point of the French defense, always trying to attack these two pawns, while my two center pawns are pretty safe at this moment. He goes bishop to d3. So when he went there, I was pretty glad because he just disconnected the queen from the d4 pawn. So he just lost an attacker. So I decided to go knight to f5, putting pressure on that pawn. So he has two defenders, I have three attackers. So, and he can't really add a defender here because I'll simply take. So I think this pawn here will fall. So now he castles and c takes d. And instead of trying to hold the position in the middle, he decided to strike with knight to g5. So the knight is not really doing anything yet. It's just quite annoying here, so close to the king. And so at this point, I wasn't sure what to do. This pawn here is hanging, but if I took and he takes here, that would have been okay, getting the bishop pair there, so maybe I should have done something like that. Another possibility was to take here first as well, but that would simply help him develop, right? And now this pawn's still hanging, so I could have taken that later. So I think that could have been probably the best way to go. Instead I went knight to e3, um, double attacking the queen and the rook, and of course I'm sort of forcing him to exchange there. So I wanted the bishop pair. I don't think that was the best move because now it's opening the f file for the king. The king will no longer be able to castle. The bishop is inactive. And also the goal here was to disconnect the bishop from the knight so I could attack the knight. So that was my idea. And so to my surprise he went king to h5 check, defending his knight, putting a lot of pressure on the king's side here, so it's not looking too good, and plus escaping from the double attack. So I defend with g6, and so this is where he was confident that he could get my king in the open and finish me off, so he sacrificed his bishop with bishop takes g6 check. So I took h takes g6, so the rook is hanging, so I think that was his best move, and he would still have a strong attack here. So if he took, I would probably start running. I don't know, he could have done something like this, and I would simply block with the bishop here, offering a queen exchange, and it's okay. I suppose I'm in big trouble, but he's still forced to exchange here, and I would have a pretty strong pass pawn, or else I will simply take the rook. As for the king here, if he does exchange, perhaps I would exchange with probably the knight here to kick away the rook, and then the knight is hanging. So I guess I'm not too bad. So maybe he saw that and he decided to go queen takes g6 check. So at this point this rook here is not really active, unable to defend the king, right? So he felt with the rook and the knight he was doing well. So he kept attacking, maintaining the initiative versus going after material. So I think that was the right way to go. So I ran my king to d7, and he goes rook to f7 check, and I block with bishop to e7. So now the queen and the rook are connected. The dark squared bishop is pinned, but then I would probably run the king over here and to b8 here. It's not the best position for the king because the rook is trapped, but that was my idea. And he goes knight takes e6. So now my center is being destroyed here. The queen's under attack. Thanks to the connection here, however, I offered a queen trade with queen to g8. I felt that if he traded queens, there would be less pressure. And then now the knight's hanging, and it's simply a matter of time before I could start developing. And this knight here is pretty strong. So he went knight takes c5 check. No, he just went knight c5 check. And because the bishop is pinned, I cannot take. So he's really maximizing all his pieces. I didn't feel like going to e8, being x-rayed by the queen. So the other choice was c7, still pinning dark square bishop. So the best move I felt was king to d8. Now his knight is threatened, and plus the queen is threatened. So now he blocks with rook to g7, and I simply go queen to f8. And the problem for him is that I'm threatening checkmate here. So thanks to this powerful knight, and now his knight is hanging, so he's not doing too well at this point. So he gets rid of the knight with bishop takes e3, d takes e3. The threat still remains now because the pawn is supporting the queen, so he's still in trouble. So rook to f7, attacking the queen, and I also offer another trade with queen to h6. Now my other threat is to come down here with check, and he's going to be in trouble. So now, of course, if he retreats the queen somewhere, then the knight hangs. So he felt that he could simply exchange as well, right? And if I take back, then he could escape the knight. But then his attack is falling apart, and I would be up a piece, and he would have no compensation. I have this strong pawn. His pawn here is under attack. It's simply a matter of time before I develop, and then I think he would be in trouble. So he didn't feel like exchanging queens at this point, so he went knight takes b7. After bishop takes oh yeah, I don't know when he did. Well, it's check, right? So he took with tempo. So I had to take back. I couldn't take the queen right away. So bishop takes b7, and queen retreats to g3. He's still in trouble, so I went bishop to h4, attacking the queen. And obviously the queen cannot stay on this diagonal, so he went queen to g4, and now it's a double threat here with bishop to f2 check. I'm still threatening to take here and put a lot of pressure on him. His queen is still quite active, blocking away the spot here for the king. The bishop is hanging. The king is trapped on the 8th rank. So it's not like he's not doing as well because the queen and the rook is not powerful enough to he has this checkmate threat as well. So that's why I attacked him first, and because I have the initiative. So let's go back a bit here. So when he went queen to g4, threatening checkmate here, I knew that I was okay as long as I had the initiative. So the initiative means to be able to attack first. So of course this is a forced move. Bishop to f2 check. King has to go to f1, and I use the other bishop to a6 check. So now he's in trouble. The only way to block is with the queen, so he resigned. So another possibility was to go the pawn to c4. It doesn't change anything once I take. The threat is the same, and then the only choice is queen to e2. And once I take and he takes, it's pretty much over. I could probably fork the rook and the king there, and wherever he goes, the rook falls, and it's pretty much over. So yeah, it was a strange game, non-stop action, and I hope you guys learned something. And I don't know if I did something wrong with the French defense opening that put me in that situation, but I think he was doing better until he sacrificed that bishop there. I guess it wasn't concrete enough, or he didn't calculate far enough. Okay, so I'll see you guys next time.